Got good content, your imagery is good. And I'm not just talking about like bare bones basic stuff, because everybody can do an on white and an angled image of a product. I'm talking about being really creative with your content, right? Because as Walmart's ecosystem grows, you're going to start seeing that categories will become more saturated over time because the barrier to entry to get into Walmart.com is getting easier and easier. And rightfully so, there's healthy competition. But the biggest question is, how are you differentiating yourself?
Hello and welcome to White Label Advice. My name is Brig McNeely. We are here with our Directors of Solutions, Harry Wolonsky and Zach Toste. And welcome, and we're glad you're here. Yay! I gotta try to figure out what the other... We have so many more buttons, and I don't really remember what each of them do. So we'll have to play around with it. I know there's one that's crickets, and sometimes I get it confused. And so when I'm like, that was awesome, and then I hit the cricket button.
That one.
I'm like, I didn't mean that.
There
My
you
bad. My bad. But that's not why we're here today, is to listen to my amazing sound effects. What we are here to talk about now is secrets. The secrets to success on Walmart.com, and it's secrets directly from former Walmart merchants. And so let's start off with just kind of talking about like your past experience at Walmart, and just kind of what you learned while you were there, and what makes you guys Walmart experts today.
Yeah, so Harry and I both joined Walmart back in 2018. It was just part of a big push that Walmart made to really invest in the e-commerce side of things. It was really an awesome time and an awesome experience to get to learn about e-commerce merchandising at Walmart. And I think one of the biggest things that stood out to me is figuring out like what actually matters when you're trying to sell online, and specifically on Walmart, right? It's a very confusing landscape to navigate, even nowadays, being in that industry for the last 3.5, 4 years. There's still something new that we're learning all the time. And I think that that's both the beauty and what makes it like very tough too, is that if it were easy, everyone would be doing it really, really well. I think that what's awesome though is that we've got an incredibly smart and capable team of people who are always trying to figure out what the latest updates are. And we're giving everybody the best shot that we can to succeed on Walmart.
All right, Harry, how about you? What'd you do at Walmart?
Yeah, so I was on the sporting goods team and really covered Jet.com while that was still around. And yeah, like Zach said, so much has changed in the last few years. It's such a fast-moving industry. In 2018, a lot of what I was doing on sporting goods was convincing brands that they should sell on Walmart.
Yeah.
And getting a 1P contract back then was super easy, signing up for, 1P in the Walmart network, even if you were just online only. But now a lot's changed. And I think operating in the 1P vendor network is a lot different than selling as a marketplace seller on Walmart. So success, the secrets of success probably look a little different, but I'm sure there's a lot of overlap, and happy to speak to our experiences on that.
That is awesome. So what are some common things that you saw that are just kind of easy to fix?
I would say, at the end of the day, it's a cliche, but content is king, right? If you've got good content, your imagery is good. And I'm not just talking about like bare bones basic stuff, because everybody can do an on white and an angled image of a product. I'm talking about being really creative with your content, right? Because as Walmart's ecosystem grows, you're going to start seeing that categories will become more saturated over time because the barrier to entry to get into Walmart.com is getting easier and easier. And rightfully so, there's healthy competition. But the biggest question is, how are you differentiating yourself? Is it through your content? Is it through your product? Is it through your pricing? Is it all the above? So really being a savvy merchandiser and a savvy marketer when you're selling online, whether you're 3P or 1P, that's probably the best thing that you could do for your business, and having a very strong understanding of why you're differentiated in your particular category.
What about you, Harry?
I would echo that. And then also really look at your listings and understand where you live on the Walmart taxonomy. Because sometimes we see a lot of vendors come to us and they're like, hey, we're not showing up for any of our search terms. And then we'll look and say, okay, on the back end, you're actually categorized as something completely different. So just to give you an example, when you set up your items on Walmart, the algorithm looks at everything that you submit and assigns a product type to it. And that product type can really determine your fate in a lot of categories in terms of where you're able to be shown on the Walmart search grid. So that's something, of course, that a lot of brands wouldn't really know if they, haven't come work with us and leverage the access and the data that we have to be able to solve those problems. But that's a huge issue right now, is that a lot of the Walmart taxonomy in terms of the rules and everything are kind of manually built out. And it can be limiting if it's not the right product type or category that you're actually in on Walmart.
That's really crazy. So what are some of the more advanced secrets you can share?
One thing I always like talking about is, in particular, when you're working with the WhyteSpyder tool, one of my favorite features is that our clients will have extreme visibility into keywords, and that has a lot of implications because it tells you straight from the source what customers are searching for within your category. So it really eliminates the guessing game that's involved normally with creating content. It eliminates the guesswork around what keywords to optimize for. And it also provides a really, really good framework of how to formulate a PPC campaign.
That's good. Yeah, we haven't talked about PPC campaigns yet. So how does that fall into just kind of everything on the Walmart e-commerce world? Like where does like paid campaigns come in?
So I would say that, in the past, Walmart used to have the system where you had to rank organically, and I believe it was the top 128 for a given search term in order to be eligible to participate in a PPC campaign for that particular keyword. Now they've opened up the doors a little bit more. It's still kind of a shifting goalpost, and our team on the PPC side is really working closely with Walmart to figure out like what are both the short and long-term implications of those changes. But for all intents and purposes, now more brands and more products can participate in PPC campaigns, and I think in general it's a great way, obviously, to get more visibility and gain category share. I think it's a great tool for brands that especially might be net new into a category and want to try to break into the scene. The bid strategy is going to have to be a little bit different, because one thing that I do know is that you do get what's called an ad relevancy score that combines where your organic rank is and your bid. And those get smushed together in some complex algorithm, according to our PPC team. And that gives you a score that Walmart will then dictate where you fall in the search grid for the sponsored placement. So again, all things being considered, if you take those two factors, obviously it's in your best interest to optimize as much as you can organically and gain traction, and then obviously be as aggressive as your budget can allow to perform well on a PPC campaign.
All right, that's awesome. All right, Harry, if you had 3 secrets that you could share, what would they be?
Okay, if I'm talking to a marketplace seller, I would say, 1, get your listing quality scores to 95%. That's just low-hanging fruit. Mm-hmm. 2, utilize WFS. I don't know the stat off the top of my head, but less than 50% of sellers on Walmart are using WFS right now, and it gives you a huge boost and is significantly impactful when it comes to getting your organic search ranks up. And then the third thing is get the pro seller badge. And I know we've talked about that before, but the pro seller badge is certainly beneficial, and I think it's going to play a bigger part as Walmart continues to add more sellers in the future. So I would say those are the 3 things that I would advise.
All right, Zach. So what are the 3 secrets that you would say to 1P suppliers?
Yeah, I was going to say I can do 1P since here I did 3P.
Yeah.
I would say, again, definitely optimize your content, but with the asterisk of, again, be as creative as you can, right? Maybe it's not enough just to optimize the content to 95%, but it's also differentiate it, use the rich media, try to engage the customer as much as you can beyond just here's what you're buying. Number 2, I would say definitely invest in PPC campaigns if your budget allows for it. And within that, definitely explore the new offerings that Walmart has, such as their DSP, which is the partnership with the trade desk. One thing that I think is really important in general digital marketing best practices, if you're a brand that's used to selling direct to consumer, one of the most valuable things is the follow-up and retargeting, right? Because it's so hard to convert a customer on a first impression. And currently in Walmart.com, there is no way, well, before DSP, there was no way to effectively retarget somebody who did not go and purchase after that first click into an ad. Now, using first-party Walmart data and through a DSP campaign, you're actually allowed to use Trade Desk inventory across the entire internet and follow that customer around, and you can create different segmentations based on behavior on site. And I think it's just a very powerful tool that a brand is able to have at their disposal. And then number 3, I would just say, in general, try to be as creative as you can in making sure that your strategy on Walmart.com follows a retail sales cycle, right? And what I mean by that is any sort of holidays that might be relevant, any sort of shopping events that might be relevant. If you're an in-store brand, work closely with your merchant team to make sure that you're participating in Big Six, that you're participating in back to school, because those key selling holidays are really what moves the needle and where the most volume is driven, on Walmart as a whole.
That's really awesome. You guys are awesome at this. Let's see. I'm going to hit a button, just a random one. Oh,
there we go.
That was a great joke. That was real advice. That was not a joke. But one of the last questions that I had is just kind of what are some actions sellers and suppliers can take right now to start moving that just kind of improving their sales?
Work with WhyteSpyder.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, you're sales. You have to say that. Yeah. It's like, yes. Woo. Yay. We're with WhyteSpyder. But it was anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, again, if I'll take the 1P side of this. If you're on the 1P side, and for example, if you don't have a relationship with your merchant, try as much as you can, do your homework, reach out, connect with people on LinkedIn who might be operating within your category, because having a relationship with a merchant on the Walmart.com side and in the general Walmart ecosystem is probably one of the most important things from the 1P side of things. And then in general, just always keep an eye on what your competition is doing. Make sure that you're monitoring any changes that your competitors make any way possible, and be nimble and flexible with how you're putting up your assortment on .com.
All right, Harry.
So on the 3P side, I would say play the long game to a lot of Amazon sellers, because I think we see it all the time. They come over to Walmart and expect to hit those numbers that they're seeing on Amazon in the first 15 days or some cases first 15 hours. It's just not possible. So it's definitely, you have to play the long game and focus on organic optimization before you start running PPC. Because Walmart, basically says that customer intent, contextual relevancy, and then historical performance is all what feeds into that ad placement.
Yep.
So we're still discovering what exactly each of those 3 pillars are in terms of like the algorithm, but it's easy to understand that they want you to focus on growing your business organically rather than just buying your way to the top, which seems like a strategy that a lot of Amazon sellers use in certain categories on Amazon.
Yeah, and I would add on to that too and say that, when you're expanding into Walmart.com from Amazon, it's a way to get in front of new customers that might not have found you on Amazon, because there are a lot of people who solely shop on Walmart.com, right? So, again, to Harry's point, while you might not see that massive lift in sales or see an incredible amount of incremental revenue coming in from the Walmart side, I would challenge 3P brands to really think of Walmart.com as an investment, right? You're investing in growing your brand presence, you're reaching out to net new customers, and hopefully you're breaking into a new marketplace that you don't have category share in. So it's just always good to keep that in mind, that anytime you're breaking into a new platform such as Walmart, there's going to be a ramp up period. And as long as you can keep that, at the top of your mind, I think you'll see nothing but success in the long term.
Right. And it's important to note that Walmart's sales have grown online 90% on a 2-year stack. So the numbers weren't crazy last year because COVID really obviously played a huge role in that. But if this trajectory continues, you're basically still in the first inning of Walmart. So that's what I mean by play the long game here, and really try to look 5-10 years down the line and we all don't know what e-commerce will look like by then because it's changing so fast. But know that at least you're in the right ecosystem and you're following the growth trends.
Yeah, it actually reminds me of during 2020 when all the craziness of COVID was like very, very heavy hitting. I remember there was a time I don't remember what the time frame was. It was probably about at least 2-3 weeks where Amazon stopped shipping most of their products, and they only were shipping like PPC and medical related things.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was when, at that point in time, I was operating a agency with Corey Hammond, and Harry was working with us as well. It was .com Partners, and we were a Walmart consulting agency, and we got a ton of client requests out of nowhere from Amazon business owners freaking out because
Amazon stopped shipping their stuff.
For 2-3 weeks, their business was essentially just shuttered, and they didn't know what to do. So there was a massive influx of marketplace sellers into the Walmart.com space who maybe for a while were tiptoeing, weren't sure if they wanted to pull the trigger on Walmart. And now Walmart has, over the last year and a half, prioritized the marketplace, and it's just growing so quickly. But it just goes to show you that you never want to put all your eggs in one basket, and you want to diversify as much as possible.
Even FBA limits.
Yeah.
That's another thing we saw this holiday where Amazon sellers were like, I used to be able to send in X amount of inventory to FBA, and now I can only send in like 1/10 of it because demand is so high to get inventory into FBA centers. And on WFS, which is the FBA equivalent for Walmart, it's kind of a land grab right now. You can send in as much as you want. As long as it sells, you'll be in a good position.
So it all goes back to just invest for the long term and try to be an early adopter, because you might see that pay off in spades over the years.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. It was awesome.
Thank you.
All right. There we go.
Thank you.
We are ready to go to the next one. All right. And have fun. And thank you guys. And see you next time.